Hello class, hope all is well, back again, and now I am going to go through this week's assignments, which is the week of the 21st of February, and officially starting the class on the 22nd. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about all the different functional strategies in an organization, okay? And we are going to look at competitive strategies as well. So let me start with Objective 5.1, and that is describe the functional strategies an organization needs and explain how those strategies are implemented and evaluated. This will be the learning outcome which I am hoping you can get out of this chapter. And the first one is looking at these what we refer to as strategic management in action. And if you look at figure 5.1, it basically tells you that top-level decision makers, for example, the CEO, top management of the organization, they develop the big picture, the overall goals of what the organization hopes to achieve, such as its vision, mission, and strategic objectives, and they also set the overall corporate strategies. Now, we look at functional strategies. They are developed taking into account the organization's vision, missions, they may have more than one mission, overall corporate and competitive strategies. They're going to go into like what happened when the organization was first founded, and what are the core goals or objectives of the company. Now, when you look at strategic situations, they're the ones that are taken into account when the organization isn't new but may want to change its initiatives or objectives. In these situations, functional strategies are looked at first in the process of deciding the most appropriate strategies, and that is the ones that will lead to what we call a sustainable competitive advantage. So the big question is, what happens after SWOT? What happens after we evaluate strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Decision makers have information about both the positive and negative aspects of the internal and external environments. Internals looking at strengths and weaknesses again, and externals, opportunities and threats. If the organization's strengths in the various functional units can be exploited as competitive advantage, particularly in light of any external opportunities, the organization may well be on its way to achieving its highest level of performance. So, if negative trends are found in any of the external areas or weaknesses, changes in functional strategies must be implemented to counteract those changes. So the point is we want to be more proactive than reactive. So we need serious planning. If we look at some really bad functional weaknesses, we're going to see how they may be prevented by using the concepts of competitive advantage and implementing that and having them in place so that if errors are strategic problems come up, they can be corrected or minimized rather quickly. So what types of functional or operational strategies does an organization need? It needs basically a product strategy, a people strategy, and a support process strategy. The product strategy is design, production operations, and marketing. The people strategy, well, we know what that is. That's human resources. The support strategy is information and financial accounting systems. Are they accurate? Are they up to date? Because remember, without money, nothing moves. So I want you to read about all of those strategies and the detail about them. So here's the question: what the functional strategies do? You know, this is the support process of the firm. Organizations essentially have two main support processes: information systems and financial accounting systems. Information affects how effectively and how efficiently organizational members can do their work. The next one is strategic decisions. You've got to take a look at strategy and how decisions are made. And now we're talking about strategy and how decisions are made with regards to information systems. There needs to be a choice that is made of systems technology and the types of information systems that we need to make ourselves most effective and most efficient. Then we have financial and accounting systems, and finally we have strategic courses. Okay? This is all coming under the support process. All right? So you want to know about, in this section, organizations have two main support processes. Know what they are. Know how information effectively and efficiently can help you do your work. The third thing is decisions must be associated with the information systems at all times. If the information isn't consistent, the decisions aren't going to be valid. And then financial and accounting, as we know, without money, nothing moves. We need to have those systems in place. So, read about all the things that strategic choices include. For example, collecting and using financial and accounting data, evaluating the financial performance, looking at forecasting, how do we maximize the financial mix, and the financial accounting functional area. How do we manage that? So now let's look at learning outcome number 2, which is asking us to explain what competitive advantage is and what it implies. Well, what is competitive advantage? It's a key concept of strategic management. Getting it and keeping it is what managers strategically look at. What sets us apart from other organizations? If we're set up to exploit, how do we do that? And we need to exploit to know what our competitors are doing so we can have competitive advantage. All right, the next thing is, do we understand our competitive environment? Competition is all over the place. Everyone knows what competition is. It's when organizations battle or vie for some desired object or outcome. Do they want more market share? Do they want more customers? What is their ranking? What is their branding? Okay? So, how do we break down our competitors. Okay? That's what we want to know next. From an industry perspective, from a market perspective, from a strategic groups perspective, by the way, if you're looking at the strategic groups perspective, you're going to be looking at Porter's 5-force model. Go back to chapter 3 and read up on that. Who are the most relevant competitors? In other words, who's on the short list? We want to know that. Are they within the organization's own strategic group, or are they on the outside? What is the level of intensity of competition? Well, that's what we need to know to be competitive. What is that level of competition? Well, what we need to know from our competitor is how effectively they have developed their comparative advantage, and do that with every member in your competition circle. So what's the role of resources and distinctive capabilities in gaining competitive advantage? What do we need to do? Every organization has resources and capabilities to do whatever it wants to do, whenever it wants to do it. But not every organization is able to do that. And what we need to know is what they're not able to do. Maybe they can't get the resources we can get to make product. But maybe we can get the resources, but we don't have the skill set. So this is all about the have and have-nots. You want to read up on that. Some organizations, they put it all together, and they develop distinctive organizational capabilities. So what type of strategies do we want to develop based on what their learning model is? How do they get their resources? How do they go about trying to receive them when no one else could? And let's identify what competitive advantage is, unless, I'm sure you already know, but by its very nature, it implies trying to get the edge on others, but doing it squarely and fairly, ethically, if you will. So, from competitive advantage to competitive strategies. What is a competitive strategy? It's the way organizations set themselves apart to compete, to create suitable competitive advantage. Okay, so that's learning outcome number 2. I am going to close this video, and then the next one will be learning outcome on chapters 5, section 3, and then 5, section 4, and we are done. Okay. Back in a few.